right, we are back live. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. www.bolopunchboxinghour.com. Streaming to you live as always on Ustream.tv. Emil Soda Popinski Kekabine on my right. Nestor Garza Romero on my left. Timmy, the producer, Patterson at the controls. I'm your host, Chris Guzman, of course. Saturday night in Las Vegas, Nevada, bantamweight action. Yanni Perez wins a 12-round unanimous decision over Joseph King Kong Agabeko. Wins his bantamweight championship of the world, 117 to 110 twice, and 116 to 111 once. Mo, I saw this fight. I'm not sure that the fight was decided over 6 rounds. I don't think it was that big of a swing. I think the right man won, but I don't think Agabeko lost by 6 rounds.
Agabeko, I mean, he came into this kind of arrogant, it seemed like to me. Like he thought he had this in the bag.
Like he had it won already.
And I don't know if he's watched Perez's fights in the past, but I've watched them, and I thought, when watching Perez in the past, I always thought this guy could be a future champ. You know?
Absolutely, but last time we saw Agabeko, he was whooping up on your boy Darchinyan.
Yeah.
So you give him extra props just for what he did in his last fight. He came on in and he lost this fight against Perez. I'll give you that, but he didn't lose it by no 6 and 7 rounds. Well, 6 and 5, 6 twice, 5 once. That's just a little harsh.
Yeah, it's a lot closer when you
not
think
Diaz,
with
not Diaz Malignaggi scoring, but still just a little kick in the butt. Exciting as hell this fight though. My God,
yeah,
these guys just checked their defense at the door. They went at it from bell to bell to bell. It was outstanding. They just kept on going.
Yeah, they're not very big guys, so you don't expect them to knock each other out. I mean, outside of Darchinyan, you don't see much around this weight class, people knocking each other out.
I saw a lot of buzz on the internet about calling these guys heavyweights for being so small. You know, they're bantamweights.
Yeah.
Saying, you know what if you put another 100 pounds on these guys, would they be able to do the things that they're doing here? What if the heavyweight division was as exciting as the bantamweight, division is
that's
right
what
now?
you've always run into, that the bantamweight, the heavyweight division will never be that exciting, because most heavyweights aren't that fast. They're not going to move around. You're not going to have that much action, that much excitement. Most of your heavyweights are dancing and they're big punches. They're not like these guys.
Yeah, when you watch a heavyweight fight, you're looking for a knockout. You're looking for that giant guy to lay on the canvas.
This fight was exciting for the fact that there was a lot of fighting. And these guys, like you said, they checked their defenses at the door. There was no defending. These were 2 offenses going at each other. This was 150 to 151 basketball game is what it was. Because it's just nobody playing defense. Everybody standing at the offensive end. Let's just play it.
You're going to score.
Exactly.
I'm scoring.
I'm going to score right back at you. So I mean, and that's what's exciting about the lower weights. That's why we've come to enjoy the bantams, the feathers, your welters, light welters. I mean, because it's exciting fighting. You're watching action consistently, as opposed to a Klitschko with his arm out holding the other guy's forehead and throwing a few punches here and there. That's not exciting anymore.
Within the last 30 years, who do we have to thank almost single-handedly for making fights as exciting as they are? I have to say Roberto Duran, dude. I've got to say Duran. Duran got the ball rolling with the whole welter middle, starting out in lightweight, of course.
Well, you've got a lot of guys to thank for that in that same class. You've got your Sugar Ray Leonards.
Duran was the most dominant of all.
No, I'm not arguing that point. But what I'm saying is as an American kid, you've got your Sugar Ray Leonards. You've got your marvelous Marvin Haglers.
You'll never hear me try to pull Sugar Ray Leonard into the spotlight. Marvin Hagler beat him that night.
Hagler, Hearns.
And then you got Tommy Hearns.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those were extremely exciting fighters. Well, and
they held the sport up for a long time. We're looking for that again.
The comparison to the fighters of yesteryear, you had a lot more exciting fighting in the heavyweights too, because the heavyweights didn't weigh 300 pounds. You didn't have a Lehman Brewster at 275 and a Valorev at 320. I mean, these guys they're slow because they're so big. Back then, a heavyweight fighter was 205. You had a guy that was 225 and he was huge. Now you have a guy that's 225 and he's the smallest guy in the ring, even smaller than the referee. So I mean, that's what you run into now. Back then, in the days of Roberto Duran and stuff, we still had a lot of exciting heavyweight fights because you had a lot smaller heavyweights that were really punching out.
I was reading, well said, by the way, my friend. I was reading a 1960s Ring magazine the other day because I had nothing better to do, and I loved reading that stuff. And they were talking about how they had actually found a giant named Arnie Terrell of Chicago, who eventually ended up beating George Chuvalo and then getting a spot to fight against Muhammad Ali.
Now,
and
how
getting
tall was Ernie Terrell?
He was 6'6".
Yeah.
He was.
And that was the most freakish
Yeah.
fight
Suddenly
they had ever heard of.
Yeah, suddenly you found a freak of nature because he was 6. Well, it's the same concept with any sport. You remember back when the Bears won the Super Bowl 20 years ago, the biggest guy on the field was Refrigerator Perry at 310 pounds, and he was giant. Everybody thought, oh my God, this guy's a pig.
And Dick kept giving him a hard time. You got to
Yeah.
get under 300.
Right. You're a biscuit. You know, they called him Biscuit because he was a biscuit short of 310. You know, and now you got guys that are 375, 380, and they're running 5 flat 40s. I mean, these guys are just, and that's the same thing. Nowadays, back then you had the smaller heavyweights that were just awesome. You know, they were fast, it was exciting, it was fun. Now they're bigger guys. It's not quite as exciting. That's why we look for these smaller guys and think, this is great. This is exciting. We're watching a great fight. And we were. You know, most of these guys, they really are exciting to watch. I love watching.
Timmy, how we doing on time? I figured if someone in the room would know.
3 minutes, man.
3 minutes, okay. You know what's important right now? Yeah, well done, dude. Well done.
Shit, I don't know.
Why would I know? Tomorrow night, USC Pavilion, Donovan George is taking on Jason Nogler. We've got Rita Figueroa against Keita Watkins. Antonio Avila against Juan Gonzalez. And we've got Sergio Cristobal against Sergio Montes de Oca. Also Ryan Smitic and Jose Hernandez in the supporting cards.
Yeah, Donovan George is making his return to Chicago. I mean, he's been back in the ring already.
He had some problems, but he's back. And he's all right now.
Yeah, he still hasn't lost a fight. He still does his head over heels flip that he does in the ring
Yes.
after he knocks this guy out.
Which he'll probably do tomorrow night. And then Saturday night, we've got on HBO out of Hartford, Connecticut, Chad Dawson against Glenn Johnson.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Chad Dawson against Glenn Johnson. I hope that's what I said the first time.
Yes.
That's a rematch. Glenn Johnson got whooped the first time. It did go 12 rounds. It's not like Dawson stopped him or
He
anything.
lost convincingly. I don't know if he got whooped, but he lost convincingly.
Alfredo Angulo against Harry Joe Yorgi, 12 rounds for the vacant WBO Interim Junior Middleweight Championship of the World. Angulo will win that fight, even though Harry Joe Yorgi is undefeated. It's just a different class. And
Yeah.
Nuremberg, Germany, lots and lots of awesome fighters on the
Yorgi
undercard
was
of
the
this.
guy that had that big upset over Tommy Hearns' son.
Yes. We've got Nikolai Valuev against David Hay for Valuev's WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World. Also, the guy that stepped aside and took extra money so that Valuev could fight David Hay is John Ruiz, who's fighting on the undercard.
Woohoo!
John Ruiz, line one, Timmy.
Yeah,
And then we've got Sergey
I gotta record
Likovich.
that.
Look at all the heavyweight champions. We've also got Sergey Likovich on the undercard. Awesome. Real quick before we take our break, Mo, Valuev or Hay, and why? We have like a minute and a half.
Or a minute.
I'm gonna go with Valuev on pure size. I don't think Hay's gonna be able
You
to
don't
get
think
to
Hay's
him.
going to be able to beat him? He's going to be able to hurt him. What do you got? Come on,
I'm going to go with Hay.
You're going to go with Hay.
Just
The
to
more
be
mobile, the more able.
just to be argumentative.
Oh, for no real reason.
I like
David
David.
Hay.
I like
I
David
want to
Hay.
go with whoever you're not going with.
Who do you got? Who you got?
Opposite of you.
What do you got?
That's my pick. Opposite of you.
Nikolai Valuev's my pick.
So I go Hay then.
You go David Hay. All right, I was kidding. I was saying Hay. No, we have 2 for Valuev. We've got 2 for David Hay. We will see this Saturday night on pay-per-view. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with the fighter you should know, and then we're on out of here. This is Bolo Punch. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Rogie Insurance is a 4-generation insurance family serving Indiana families for over